you. Well, either way, good afternoon, everyone. I don't know if everyone's familiar with the MHCC, but we are obviously the Michigan Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We have been around since 1989 and are here to provide whatever resources we can to small business owners all the way up to our corporate members. We do have our professional business development programs, and thank you so much for coming in for the launch of our small business series for 2022. We have some very engaged members here to give you some background into business development. And our moderator, Chad Starnes, who is the Senior Vice President of Business Development at Knight Facilities Management, will kind of kick us off a little bit. And if you have any questions or need any help, we will have a Q&A at the end of the session. You can also send anything over via chat if you don't want to kind of put yourself out there. So without further ado, I will send this over to Chad. If you'd like to get us started.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dina. And thanks for everybody that's joined us today. Of course, first and foremost, thanks to the MHCC for hosting and putting this on. A great event, great opportunity for folks to connect and pick up some lessons learned and some great tips and tricks on the world of sales and business development. It has its moments, its challenges, but I think some of the feedback that you're going to get from this esteemed panel today are going to help you be successful and continue the growth in your opportunities in the future. Our two panelists today, first and foremost, Camilo Suero comes to us here from the Hispanic Chamber, as well as a bunch of other supporting organizations across the country. And Mr. Chad Toms from Reliance One here based out of Michigan. So I want to say thank you to both of them for joining and being the pivotal piece to this discussion. But before I get started with these two guys, I always like to put a little personal spin on things. And, you know, I sat back and thought about this a bit, and it's going back to some days of travel from Atlanta to Chicago, and even with Camilo sitting on the stairs in Ohio at a Honda event, having good conversation and you know, how do we grow together? How do we develop together? How can we help each other out? How can we connect each other? And again, you know, you find that it's not an individual effort. There's a lot of teamwork and working together with people that you feel comfortable with, that you've known for years, that can help make a lot of those connections. And Camilo's been very instrumental in helping me in my career path over the years. So thank you for that. And Mr. Toms, Chad, you know, we have some shared interests, obviously the same zip code, and family and children go to the same school district, and had a great opportunity to get together and connect. And you find out that it's a very small world of all the people that know each other or been connected over the years, or you reintroduce some connections. So, you know, I tip my cap to him and some of the opportunities and some of the connections that he's helped me make over the time. So thanks to both of you for being a part of this and being a part of my life and my business career as well. So thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, and I, you know, before I get into some of the, I'll call it the overture of this, let's kick it over to Camilo. Quick introduction for the group and some fun facts about him.
Thank you so much. Well, my name is Camilo Suero, originally from the Dominican Republic. It could be otherwise because my mother is Cuban, my dad Dominican, and I was born in Puerto Rico. So I see myself as a Caribbean. I grew up over there, went to school in the Dominican, then came in '96 to do my MBA. I did it at Wayne State University. I came in at that point of the famous just-in-time in logistics and started working at Ford Motor Company around '96, '97. And spent there like about 13 years. Then I had the privilege, honor, whatever you want to call it, to lead the Michigan Hispanic Chamber of Commerce from 2013 through the end of 2016. It was a life-changing experience to me. Then after that, I decided I wanted to be on my own. And one thing that was pivotal at that time, it was John Johnson. Some of you remember him. He said to me, Camilo, people like you like people. Why don't you go into sales? And I thought about it for a second. I go, you know, I've been selling my whole life. I just didn't realize it. So ever since, I've pretty much been dedicated to be a, well, you call it business development. I call it people development. That's how I see it. Today, I'm very proudly represent the Michigan Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the Michigan Minority Supply Development Council, and also the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, in addition to other MBEs that I represent in the automotive industry. Very proud to be with all of you and happy to connect with any of you separately after this. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Camilo. Appreciate that. Mr. Toms, if you would, please.
Absolutely. Well, that's a tough introduction to top. There's no way I can top that. I just honored to be here today. I'm indebted to the Hispanic Chamber. We've been members for, I think, going back to 2007, somewhere in there. And our company's been involved. And so I work for Reliance One. We're a Hispanic-owned staffing firm, similar to my counterpart here online from MCM. And it's just a great organization. I am not Hispanic, but based on Camilo, our great relationship, I am an honorary Hispanic. I've been, I did one of these. I got brought into the fold many years ago, and it's just great. It's just I'm Polish actually, but Camilo and I had a conversation. I like to listen to my music loud. I love to dance. I love to have some cocktails. I love to have fun. He goes, well, you pretty much check all the boxes. You're Hispanic. So it's been great. So I've been with our company, like I said, 20 years. We've been in business 23, and we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all the great people involved. The Dinas of the world, and the Marks and the Camilos and the Chad Starnes, everybody, Emily's obviously. So thank you. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Chad. Appreciate that. Thank you both. You guys both have a rich history and a lot of experience. And again, I think the information presented today is really going to open some eyes and some ears to some different opportunities. So thank you again. Just real quick on myself, Chad Starnes with Night FM and business development. Been in the industry for almost, oddly enough, 30 years, mostly operational capacity, which obviously does help you sell, and understanding the relationship at the facility level with a lot of the people that we've worked with over the years. So very grateful for the opportunity today to speak, and thank you, Dina, for this offering. I kind of want to kick it off with, it's been some interesting times, to say the least. It hasn't been a 6-week deal. It hasn't been a 1-year deal. It's been, wow, we're getting near 2.5, getting on 3 years of some global activities that have probably impacted everybody on this line in some form or fashion, or their business in some form or fashion. A lot of challenges. The old days of getting face-to-face opportunities or sitting down and having lunches have kind of, a little bit more relaxed now, but have been challenging over time. We've had to pivot into virtual type mode and virtual reality of sorts to have some conversations and participate with a lot of clients or opportunities that are presented. Supply chain issues have probably impacted us in some form or fashion. And supply chain may not just be that widget or that part, but it could be people. And as we know, a couple organizations here probably have had some challenges. And, even more importantly, the great resignation, as I was talking with Camilo and Chad, the people that you used to know, the people that you had the 10, 15, 20-year relationships have come and gone. And there's new faces that probably didn't necessarily get the right introduction about, or get an understanding who was taking over until after the fact. So there's a lot of hunting and a lot of farming that has to continue to get where we need to go. And I think what's, important about all this too is, as the dynamics of the world have changed, especially in sales and business development, it's truly understanding your customer. And I think as we get into this, you're going to find that you have to be open to the way that they like to do business and the way that they want to operate. And for example, there's a lot of clients and customers that only want to deal virtually. And I have some that want to be face-to-face all the time. Let's get together all the time. And that's great. So you have to be open to it. You have to pivot to those type of opportunities and keep that in mind. So I'm going to start with you, Mr. Toms, if you don't mind, and let's discuss this sales hunter concept. Maybe a general definition based on some experience, and maybe some traits and some different things that you can share about it.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate the segue into the program. Yeah, and I think Camilo touched on when he first kind of opened up. He mentioned he's here to help, and that's really my message today is it does take a village. It's the Hispanic Chamber. We've got folks from the MSED on board, the marketing and sales executives in Detroit. It takes a village. It takes a lot of people and organizations that just want to help each other out. So definitely indebted to you all. And I'm anyone that's on here that needs any additional information, please seek me out. But yeah, so we look at hunter, traditional definition. It's someone that, is pursuing something that's seeking. Obviously, you think of, we're here in Michigan, October 1st, bow hunting season starts. Everyone's going out and trying to bring home that prized, that deer or whatever it is. But sales is very similar. Now, I think what you have to do first is you really have to define your organization and figure out what you need. When Alliance One, I mentioned, we've been in business 23 years. 20 years ago this month, I was working out of a home. There was 3 of us that were staring at each other every day in a spare bedroom. And then now we're a national organization. And there were times where we had to be, more, I guess, probably emphasis on the hunting side than the farming. But really, for our organization, we need both. They're both equally important. So you look at someone that's going to go out there and try to, bring home the conquest. They really have to be innovative and motivated. Someone that enjoys selling, that really likes to get out there, and it's about those, those small details, and really, it's just the small little steps that make it happen. Excellent communication skills, I think, is a must. I think someone that is not scared to kind of, I would say, get their hand slapped. I remember when I was first starting in light industrial sales way back in the day. I remember a lot of times if you try to get to the front door, there's nobody there. Sometimes you just got to walk around the back, and there's a warehouse manager hanging out, on the back dock, and you just kind of introduce yourself that way. So you have to kind of just not be scared to kind of just be creative. So I'm a sales hunter, but I think the number one thing that I had to ask myself way back in the day is, why am I doing this? And it's really the why. What is my motivation? And I think for me, what made it work is I always tried to make it about them. I made it about my client. It might be their plant they're getting ready to launch or their new program. I really didn't look at it from my own. I didn't, add my own motivations to it. And I made it about other people, and including our team internally. We're all about changing lives at Reliance One. So I made it about our recruiters, our salespeople, our HR team. But, so I think in my opinion, if you're someone that's going to be a hunter and you're only doing it to chase, bonus checks and commissions and all of that kind of stuff, I think you're always going to be a hunter. It's really hard to kind of evolve into to being that farmer. My mom had told me do the right thing, and every time you'll never have to worry. That was just something that she told me many years ago, and it's helped me in my sales career. So does that answer your question? I can keep going.
No. I think that's fantastic. You got into why you want to do this, and is this the pathway that I want to choose, and things of that nature. And I think you answered a lot of that. I guess, Camilo, kind of a follow-up to you. What satisfaction does a hunter get? And why are they really wanting to be the hunter versus the farmer? And I think you're on mute.
Something that we mentioned here was a great resignation. It's no secret to anybody. I personally face that. I know we all face that. That a lot of your key people left the company, and you come to find out about it when you're trying to send a message. You get that bounce email. But let's just go a step back. We all know that like 80% of your sales is with 20% of your customers. We know that. But we also know that the greater scalability in your business is going to be with your existing customers, because it takes time to develop a new customer, especially when you are in Michigan. That is all automotive. It takes 3 years, the sales cycle. So keeping that in mind, when someone leaves, your main contact leaves, it's pretty much like somebody cut you your legs. You need to be a hunter. I personally can tell you how I did it. And I think I was very successful. I went on website, started sending emails to anybody. I just went crazy looking for that deer to hunt. And thank God I was very successful to that end. but I consider myself more of a farmer. Let me tell you why. Because once I got to that individual, the new one, then I need to develop that individual. So as you can see, we all had to pivot into what happened here because of COVID. We have to be more resourceful with LinkedIn, with CRMs, with many, many other things. Those are tools, resources for us to actually accomplish what we're trying to do, which, by the way, my world is not a sale, is something beyond a sale. So.
Beautiful.
I agree, Camilo. Technology's been amazing. It's, and well, like I said, way back in the day when we started, I was literally making calls out of a phone book. But now we've got we've got Zoom Info, which is this database which it provides direct dial lines and emails and LinkedIn addresses and connections. I mean, it's just really an excellent tool. LinkedIn has been great. It's just I found another aspect is social media. I follow every single one of my clients, and all of the Twitter, the Facebook, and LinkedIn and it's a great way to get relevant information and then bring it back to the organization. Be like, hey, I noticed your new product launch is going great, or you just opened up a new plant and wherever, or so-and-so got promoted, your fourth quarter earnings were this. It's a great way to kind of stay in tune with your client and really kind of take it from that, almost like that vendor type mentality to that strategic partner. So I think without the technology, it's really difficult to get to that next level.
Agreed. And that sales hunter piece, you talked about some of the common traits of being innovative and being that go-getter person that's going to go to the back door, and you really enjoy the sale and the hunt itself. The communication piece and the skills to get there. You mentioned some of these tools of technology. Another option that we have used as an organization is some AI related, where you have a particular set of information that you would like to be sent out, and they'll do some pretty wild and wide broadcast to all the type of clients or personnel that you're looking to reach or touch, whether it's a plant manager, a purchasing agent, so on and so forth. And found that to be very successful in some leads and some meeting opportunities. So, outside of some of the social and digital platforms, that is another option. The phone book days are come and gone. I remember delivering them when I was 17 years old. So,
For sure.
We've learned to adapt over the time, and the key, the word we always like to use is pivot. So I appreciate that. It's one other thing specifically on the hunt piece. Either one of you can chime in, but word of mouth or the network of people that how has that been instrumental in the hunt? Maybe Camilo, you can offer something.
I relied almost entirely on the network of people. And I can summarize my years at MHCC in 2 words: relationships and trust. So the network of people is the easier way that you have to achieve that trust with someone that doesn't know you and that you don't know that person. So that network becomes the bridge. So that the word of mouth maybe helps to reaffirm, but I think the network, that's my livelihood, network of people, who I know, who knows me, and how do we make connections.
Yeah, I agree. I think, as I mentioned that, when we kicked off, the organizations like the MHCC, the MMSCC, MSED, all these different groups are really just a form. They're an advocacy type situation. What I've done is I've just created loyalty. So, a lot of times, and it's just been great. I mean, I don't necessarily have to sell Reliance One. It's just me. It's building my own personal brand. And I get emails all the time. I get phone calls. Hey, so-and-so's hiring, or you should track down, or hey, I got your information. We need your help. What can you do to help? And so that's really what it is. I've got hundreds of people out there selling my own particular service, just because they know me and they know that, we're a reputable firm and we've built up that trust factor. I think another big part of that is, Camilo, when he came on to the Hispanic Chamber, we were able to kind of form a bond, and it's kind of like the buddy system. Find someone that you not only have a good relationship with, but someone that'll hold you accountable to go out there and do it together. I mean, we're in entirely different services and products, but we attend a lot of the same events. And that's a great thing about living here in Michigan. We all pretty much have the same client base. I mean, even though I'm in staffing, Chad, you're in, facility services, everybody here is calling on GM, Toyota, Stellantis. I mean, it just really goes back to the people side. So find a buddy. It holds you accountable, and it's easier. Like, we do a lot of in-person events. I've walked around so many trade shows with Camilo. When you walk up to that buyer and you have someone there with you, it's just easier to have the conversation. Don't feel like you have to do it alone. I did that for many years, and maybe it was a confidence thing. Maybe I was scared that, someone would see that I'm not that good at this. I don't know. But eventually I'm like, okay, I found a buddy, and it's just been fantastic. I don't think I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for Camilo. I'll tell you that.
Thank you, Chad. I'll send you a check later after this.
Venmo will be fine.
Well, to piggyback off of both of your comments, the buddy system, and I've experienced as well with both of you gentlemen, as well as many others, it does boost your confidence. It does open some different doors. It gets you an opportunity to meet some additional people that you may or may not have even thought of meeting that could help support your business growth or your goals and objectives. So I think the buddy system is instrumental. If you can find that person, and in what you'll see, I think, and what you'll find over time, at least in my experience, is when you're at these events or shows and you're interacting with these folks, everyone genuinely wants to help. And even specific to the MHCC, when you engage with them, they're willing to say, you know what, Chad, I know that you're in facility services. I'm going to take you over to XYZ or ABC over here to meet these individuals, because I think there's going to be a good connection. We're here to help you, support you, and endorse you. So that buddy system is very instrumental in the opportunity for growth. So thank you guys for that.
You are welcome.
So, we've touched on this, this hunter, pull back the bow, shoot the arrow, and go for the kill type methodology. It's exciting and fast paced, but something that takes a little bit more time and a little bit more effort. And Camilo, you touched on it a bit earlier. The farmer, the person that's out there cultivating, per se. If you could share with me what is a sales farmer? What are some of the traits of a sales farmer?
I think everybody in Michigan is a sales farmer. We all know that it takes 3 years minimum to do a sales here. No one is 100% farmer, no one is 100% hunter. I think you interchange as you go about it. But the farmer is someone that wants to come in not to sell, but actually to listen. And parallel to that, developing a relationship, not just to become friends with that individual, it's more like to really develop the trust that they can tell that person what are their pain points. You want to get to the point that your customer can open up to you to tell you your pain points. Now, if you're a farmer, you're listening to that, and you're not just keeping your company to, well, this is what we do, and I cannot change that press, or I cannot change that process because this is what we do. No, you're actually going to come back and challenge your own company and say, hey, we have this opportunity, but we might have to do some changes here to meet our customer needs. So it's someone that is creative with their customers, but at the same time with their own company. And that's how you actually achieve growth. All of us in automotive here know that a famous 2 words, engineering change. It happens all day long. I see my buddy Tracy there, probably knows exactly what I'm talking about, all day long. And what is engineering change? You're selling to Ford or GM, one of the automotive. There's a concept, the initial engineering. From the time that you start that RFQ all the way until you go into production, that product probably changed minimum 15 times. But you were working alongside with your customer to achieve that. The same thing can happen with Chad. Tom's here with his customer first approaching for something else, but then business change, and then you have to adapt to their needs. So that's why when you are a farmer, you're someone that is patient, someone that doesn't take no for an answer. A no means simply that your customer is misinformed. That's all a no is. It's not a no. They just didn't hear you clearly. So you need to work on making them understand why you are the solution to their pains. So that's just a few top of the iceberg there.
Absolutely. I mean, Mr. Toms, if you don't mind, I mean, there are some other tactics involved. We've talked about doing the homework and understanding the client and their needs, and some things that Camilo's touched on. What are some other important parts of being a farmer?
Well, I think, and you have to have the mindset of the long-term sales cycle. And I think early on, when I first, was getting going in my career alliance, when there was a time where I had a lot of clients and I was really good at hunting, but I really hadn't figured out how to farm it yet. And I took my client base and I shrunk it down from like 22 active clients down to about 5. And that's really when it turned into something special. You kind of drilled down into the organization. So it was a mindset, or it was fun to get into the account, but really to take it to that next level is when, like I said, when you grow it. I think what did it for me was I tried to make every single opportunity like a life-changing event. I tried to I just went all in and just made it about my client, about my people, and then that way it just grew from there. And you have to start small and then it really grows. And as you might take it, you talk about those engineering changes, Camilo, maybe it's that one engineering group or that one division, and then they're going to talk about how great of a job you did, and they're going to kind of carry the torch for you. So it's about getting those chances, and then you can't let the bar slip. I've seen this time and time again. We talk about going to the trade shows, but even if you're just walking into a business, and if it's a client that you've had, longer than 6 months, I mean, you have to treat everyone the same. You got to know who the receptionist is. You got to know who the accounting manager is. You should be on a first name basis from the CEO all the way down to the janitor. And I think there's people that, if you're falling all over the CEO, but you're not being friendly to the receptionist, I mean, people see that stuff. Trust me, they're watching. So, I mean, I think it's just getting to know all the players involved, doing your homework, and really just kind of, it's about top of mind awareness as well, and then find a reason to be there. I made every excuse I could to get to my clients. I pretty much lived there. I would take them bagels in the morning, and then I'd stick around and still be there at lunchtime. And then, and then the next thing you know, it's happy hour. And it's, so just, you really have to put in the time to do it, but it works. It's a lot of fun.
Agreed. Great points. And, I think what it really in summation comes back to is, I think anybody and everybody on this line, we're in the service industry. We're here to service the client, that individual, that corporation, that business, of what their best interest is. And I know at times it can be challenging when you feel that they need to go a specific way, but you have to keep in mind that you're there for their best interest. And as mentioned, the trust factor, the transparency factor, we are in the service industry. We're here to serve those customers and clients so that they can have an effective program or the right staff or the right leadership around them to do the job necessary, excuse me. So, you talk about these lunches and dinners and like that. Do you find that there's any success in, I'll call it, after hours activities that can support that, obviously, that are upright and wholesome?
Absolutely.
Let me jump on that, because that's very critical, and especially when you go more into conference. We all go to conference. Everybody, the conference, you have a great time. Then come the day after the conference, or even the week after the conference, and we have to admit, I'm going to say the majority of us are not that good at the follow through or follow up with the great connections that you make. But let's just go back a little bit. We all have great personalities. That's what we do sales. But there have to be a process, especially if you're a farmer, that you're going to spend 3 years developing one single account. That's money that either you're investing on your own commissions, or somebody's paying you to develop that client, and you need to deliver. And you don't have that single client. You maybe are working on 20 other ones. So you have to have a process that you follow through timely. You either have to have a CRM, your own thing, but I'm going to tell you, all of you, what the most successful process for me ever is called a whiteboard in front of you, big one, as big as it can be. And you write there every 3 months, all your prospect, and then you go back at it every week and where you're at and put how much money you're going to make on each one of them and all that. That visualization in front of you or who are you going after, it keep you centered and focused into what you need to do. So that way you stay on track on the process. Now the process, like a staffing company that has so many employees, the owners or the executive in sales gotta have established process, almost like, standardized. This is what everybody's doing, part of the performance review, because otherwise it just goes crazy. you need to have a way that everybody feels clear, that I can be myself following a standardized process, that I don't have to invent the wheel or reinvent it. It's just there. I come to work, I already know what I need to do today, and I do it. So I think that's critical, that go beyond your personality. No, that's the charm. That's how you're going to accomplish in your own way. That's your art. But there have to be a process to achieve what you're trying to achieve for your company.
Well, great points. A second part of that for you, Chad. So you're following the processes, you're whiteboarding, and you're diligent in your efforts day in and day out, week in and week out, to find that client that you're grooming and developing over time. And you finally hit that wall, and communications may have subsided, or you're not necessarily getting the response or feedback that you're normally accustomed to or used to, and you're feeling, well, maybe I'm getting the cold shoulder. And you're sitting there probably thinking, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the wrong thing? How do you reset, restart, or re-engage them in a positive way?
Yeah, you try to just be really, I don't know what the word is, but you're walking in their shoes. You're trying to understand where they're coming from. We talk a lot about, the Michigan-based companies. So we have, we're calling on suppliers here. Well, there's a North American headquarters, but they're a Japanese company. So a lot of times it just depends on where that decision is being made. So obviously you're trying to expand through the organization, not just, as Camilo talked about, if you're just kind of hitting that same person and the next thing you know, they're moving on to a new company, with this great resignation, you're starting from scratch. So really just try to be broad in your approach. Don't take anything personal. I've tried to, when I think about walking in their shoes, I'm just trying not to wear out my welcome. You don't want them, whenever you call, they're diving for that, that the end call button to send you to voicemail. So just try to, remain relevant. I think I can think about, there's a huge chapter in our company's history where we ended up opening up an office in Charlotte, North Carolina. We staffed a plant with 600 people. We took over the entire plant. And, I personally drove our team down there. It was an awesome experience. I came very close to just kind of telling them to F off. I was so frustrated. It took forever. It took about 6 or 8 months to kind of get to that point. And, it was just dead in the water. And it was very frustrating. But I just kind of stayed the course and just kind of kept, stayed relevant and made sure I was, the top of mind awareness was there. And then lo and behold, poof, it happened. And, I was very close to pulling the plug on that. So it taught me a valuable lesson. Just, we're in this for the long haul. And, and that's a nice thing about those relationships that you're building today. If they do move on, oh, guess what? They're going to be an influential person at yet another company that you're not even thinking about. So just don't give up. And that's where it's nice to have the buddy system and just great leadership and people in my inner circle that we talk all the time. It's just what we're doing. It doesn't matter if you're selling products, parts, services, whatever. It's pretty much all one and the same. So just, you don't have to go alone. Just make sure you just talk about it. Don't pull the plug too early.
No, those are some great points. And I think you said something there that was really important, is regardless of the outcome, the relationship piece and everything that you built over time is important every single minute. And I'm going to give you a quick example. I had started a relationship with an individual in a purchasing function approximately 12 years ago. And to your point, great resignation, great opportunities. This individual decided to change to another company. And as part of the farming process and keeping that relationship going, you keep in touch with that individual, how they've been, how's the family, how's the kids, so on and so forth. Well, lo and behold, next week, there's going to be a bid at our new company that I'm working at, and you guys are going to be invited. So all this work up front, all these activities built in, all these sleepless nights and additional follow-up that takes place does pay off in the long haul. And that's one of many examples that I can offer. Maybe Camilo, you even have one.
I do. When I left the Hispanic Chamber, I needed to learn the trade of what is called automotive rep. So I went with one of our members, and I remember that every day they will be talking, oh, we got to get to Magna in the west side. And they've been every day talking about it. And I go, well, what's the big deal? Just go. So we went. And I was able to connect with one person there. And then just they email, not every day, you have to be mindful of that, but just developing that rapport. Hey, can I go again and visit? So anyhow, we were able to orchestrate a meeting, and then he became a champion for us there, and actually brought his entire engineering team. And then from there, things start we start developing a footprint there. So it was about being persistent. It was about listening to that person, and then just showing up. You have to show up there, and then remain there and be patient with it. That person, actually, his wife became ill. So then, kind of make things slow. But I will every month, hey, how's your wife? How you doing? This and that. Next thing you know, an account that team was always for years talking, we got to get that account. We have like 4 POs within no time. So, but it's all about, again, process, right? And your personality. How do you implement that process? That also you don't become what they call a pest. Someone that like, oh, here's this term, Camilo, calling me again. No, I make sure that doesn't get to that point. It has to be more, hey, Camilo, how's it going? How are you? Because I'm trying to help you. So.
Yes, people like to buy from someone they know and they can trust. And those are some true statements you've made there. Even when we look at hunters and farmers together, I think maybe more towards the farmer side is, there's a lot of events and there's a lot of activities that you can attend and go to that you're going to have to, write a check or do some different things to be engaged. One thing I've found that's been helpful and really earned some credibility fast is involve yourself in some of that company's initiatives, whether they're volunteering time, Habitat for Humanity, or different activities like that. You can always raise your hand because there's never a shortage of a need for volunteers to support an organization. So keep that in mind if you're, looking to further develop your relationship with a current client, or even for that matter, trying to grow something with somebody new. You'll meet a lot of interesting people. To your point, Mr. Toms, you talk about connecting to different people within the organization. You'll find yourself finding those individuals, and you start some really unique relationships. So I don't know if you guys have any other suggestions to further develop those relationships.
Yeah, I think you talk about volunteering and something that we've done. I love to play golf and I love to play in the golf outings. We do it every year, but one of our account managers, he's been with us for probably 10 or 12 years. He actually volunteers for a lot of the organizations around town to work at the golf outing, or he'll do the Vegas hole. And, when you're on and when you're in a foursome and you're playing for an outing, you see your group that you're with, you might run into a couple other people on the course, and then you have the dinner. Well, our account manager, he's out there, he sees every single person that comes through that tee box, and he's wearing his Reliance One t-shirt, and, he's helping them do whatever. I'm like, that's a great idea. I mean, I really never thought of that. So there's opportunities to put yourself out there and do that, those type of things. So yeah, volunteering is huge.
You know what, Pat, some of our new members, I told them, volunteer on the registration desk of some of our events. That way you can put an, face to the name of people, and then you can come back and say, oh, this person works out here. And then, oh, how you doing? So that's a tactic that you can use as well.
Yeah, we do a lot of the networking events. We always go in tandem, like we talked about. And I remember I seen this one director, for purchasing, and literally we counted out about 16 times. He's like, well, you went to this, and we went down the schedule. He's like, okay, all right, we'll meet with you now. I know that you're serious. So, and I think that's the thing. A lot of times if you go, if you're hunting or you're farming, we expect such immediate results. It takes time. You have to really, in our business, no offense to Jay or to Crystal. I mean, staffing, there's a lot of us, and and there's some that are very, very good at what they do, but it's pretty easy to start a staffing company. You just get a phone and a computer and and you're good to go. But I mean, there's some that just aren't that good. And so in our industry, we get lumped together. We all get lumped in, probably no different than facilities management, right, Chad? And it takes time to kind of separate yourself from the pack. So just know that, I mean, it is a long-term. If you're hunting, it might take 3 to 5 years. It took me to get into General Motors, I think it took me about 10. To get into Stellantis, it took me 7. These are, long-term sales cycles, but it takes forever. So just, one step at a time, and eventually you'll get that contract. But don't walk in the front door expecting to have a PO waiting for you. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
True, there are some rare instances. Camilo, I think you had something?
Yeah, it might be a little sideline, but I want to make sure that we don't forget about this because we're talking about hunters versus farmers. And I remember in our meetings with the sales rep group that I was, sometimes the owner will say that you can, if someone is not a zebra, you cannot put zebra stripes on that person. What it means is that if you don't have the personality to do, what is expected, you will never do it. So as a executive account, what is it? Sales executive, if any of you are and have people under you, you need to be mindful of that. You need to understand your team, see where they are. I think, Dina, we did a couple of years ago a fantastic personality test that was very deep as far as telling you what kind of individual you were. Because if someone has more, an engineer, not all engineers are salespeople. Some are excellent, but others are more, reserved, right? But that doesn't mean that that individual cannot be your wingman at a sales pitch, because that person has the entire knowledge of what you're trying to sell. You just need to be the one, the door opener for that individual to actually wow your client. So you can work. So understand who you're dealing with in your company, because if you're setting expectation for people that are not going to deliver, both of you are set up for failure, the individual and yourself, because that individual is supposed to produce for your company. So just be mindful of that, of who you are and what is your best ability and a skill set. And then as a manager, then help that person, develop that person, and then patiently help them develop, maybe at least to paint the stripes, right? Try to paint it. So I just wanted to say that because I lived through that, I saw it, and I think it's important to know.
No, those are great points. And, it got me thinking about something I think is very important for both components of the hunter and the farmer is, you look at the sales individual as a very personable person that makes a lot of people smile and says all the right things and makes everybody feel good. But I think the two pieces that I found to be very successful is knowing your content and understanding the scopes of work and activities that actual customer is asking you to do and deliver. And I'll give this as a recent example. We're working on something with McCormick and Company. And the buyer told me, she says, make sure you read that scope of work. And I said, absolutely, I do every time. She's like, because I'll test people. She says, I want to make sure, and this was a previous example she offered, is when they installed all this equipment in the facility, when it was all said and done, she wanted a bag of peanut M&Ms put at bay column XY23. And when she went to go check the completion of the work, there was a bag of peanut M&Ms at bay column XY23. And she says, that's the type of company that I want to work with. They sold themselves well, they're credible, they have the good experience, but more importantly, they followed and delivered on what I asked them to do. And I think, everything that's culminated and led up to where we're at now, it's really understanding and delivering on what they're looking for. So with that being said, I have a couple more questions, and then we'll set some time for some Q&A if anybody has, if they want to put in the chat box. So, Mr. Toms, the world's changing every single minute and hour. How does Reliance One, or how do we stay relevant?
Well, you have to stay relevant without wearing out your welcome. I mentioned technology. One of the tools I use are Google alerts. So I have all of my clients, General Motors, whoever, and I get alerts on what's going on. So we use a process. It's called seeding. So, I was calling on a huge company last year, and they launched a brand new product, and it was just, revolutionary. And I sent a note to the CEO, and, and I've done it. You can do it through email. You can print a copy off of the article and write them a handwritten note. It's find a way to stay relevant, and it's worked for us. Another thing we do quite often are handwritten thank you notes. Who does that anymore? We do.
Yeah, very nice.
I've done it a million times, and it goes a long way. Just take a minute to scratch it out and send it to them. Now it's a little bit more of a challenge, with remote based type schedules. You don't know where everyone's, not everyone's working in the office, but just those little type of things, or just a timely email. Hey, notice that, so, or what, and obviously you got to find out what the common interests are, but maybe they're a huge fan of the Green Bay Packers. I don't know. Just as things kind of pop up, just use those opportunities just to stay in front of them. And you don't always have to sell. You don't always have to mention anything about anything, or if you're waiting feedback on it, maybe a bid or an inquiry, just something. Hey, I know your kid goes to Notre Dame. Looks like they had a good basketball game last weekend. That was awesome. Did you get to go? Just those type of things, just to stay top of mind.
Those are fantastic points. Thank you for that. Camila, I've been saving this question for you. And this one, it's a little personal too, but, when it comes to finding that advocate, like, I came to you not even knowing you years ago, and you embraced me, you took me under your wing, and you showed me around and introduced me to so many people I'm so grateful for. And, you had to give up your time and give up your freedom to spend time with me and put your name out on my behalf. And again, I appreciate that. So how do you find an advocate, and how did you really become an advocate for folks like us?
Willingness, right? So you have to, one thing that I tell people, and last week I was invited to a Dominican Independence Celebration Zoom call. And I remember telling everybody in that call saying, if one piece of advice I can give you is that there is enough here for everybody, meaning help someone else, help your competition, because there's enough for everybody, and it will come back tenfold to you. It's biblical, everybody knows that, but in your heart, you will know that you're doing the right thing, because you're confident first that by you giving someone else an opportunity that could have been yours, you know that there's more out there. So you feel extra confident on yourself. You're helping someone else, and guess what? That favor is going to come back to you. So it is the willingness first. You don't create it. You just have to feel that way, that you want to truthfully help somebody. Then number two, what is it that you're looking for? Because then again, our life is also have to be planned out a certain level. Where do you need help? Do you need help in finance? Do you need help in marketing? Whatever you need help more, then trying to find someone that you can connect, that can take you at that level. It could be a mentor, it could be a soft mentor, but it will be an advocate that will help you to get there. And pay it back. That's it. I mean, perhaps I am in a more privileged situation because working with a Chamber of Commerce, like it's easier for you to pay it back. You always have people, and you see that you say, come with me, and then I'll show you the way. But you can do it anytime. Shad did it with me. I mean, my first conference, he said, Camilo, follow me. And he introduced me to the whole world. And that was a game changer for me. And thank you, Shad, for that. So that's what I would say. It's you. You have to be not afraid that by helping someone else, you're losing. No, you're gaining in all kinds of respects.
Awesome. That's incredible stuff there. We've got about 2 minutes before we'll open it up to some Q&A. I have one last question for each one of you. We'll start with you, Mr. Toms, and with you, Mr. Suero. Let's give the group maybe a tip or trick for success or opportunity improvement for the company.
Oh, a tip or a trick for success? That's a tough one. I mean, I just think it's put yourself in the room, find a reason to be there. Obviously the trade shows are huge in our industry, but just find a reason to get there. There's been so many times where I've heard, that CEO, give a presentation or a speech, like, how'd you know about this? Like, I just paid attention, and I'd be the only person from the staffing industry there. I don't know. Just be aware of what's around you, I guess, and just try to find a way to be there.
Absolutely. Camilo?
Yeah. Very practical. That whiteboard, that can change your life. I know many of you already use it. Just keep using that whiteboard. Prioritize, throw everybody there, but then go back again, prioritize. Your time is valuable. So don't go after people that it's not worth it. Just concentrate. Leave it there. Might happen eventually, but go after those. Those two there, and then execute. I mean, make it happen. Poof, be the hunter at the end of the day. Close the deal.
Yeah, you got to take the shot, and you can't miss, right?
You got to take that shot. It's not all about talking and drinks and this. No, you have to close a deal at the end of the day. And one thing, let's talk about that, because that's where I feel that many people, this is where there's a lot of people that don't have the zebra stripes for that one. Is closing that deal. Let me tell you why. Because you are developing a relationship, and then now you might feel a little awkward into, oh, now I gotta jump from friendship into deal closing and business. Don't be afraid. You are not there to be a friend with that person. It will happen. That's okay if it happens. That'll be a plus. But you're there representing your company, offering a solution to that individual that needs it, and that individual is also there to find a solution for their company. So when the time is right, just say it. Just it's like when we were teenagers, at least, you want to tell the girl, hey, you want to be my girlfriend, that you were so afraid. You just got to say it and then see what happens,
Fantastic points. I'll offer one obscure trick that I tried following an event. There was a particular organization I was trying to connect with, and it had been a long time since anything ever came to fruition. So I actually met the person, got a business card, and what I did is I sent an email, and in the subject line I put, read below to claim your prize. And lo and behold, that buyer called me that day because it caught the attention of that individual that quickly. So again, to your point, Chad, some of the things that you mentioned, Camilo, you have to be a little creative. You have to think a little bit differently on how you're going to connect with these individuals. But it started a really inspirational discussion and led to some opportunities. So there's many different examples, so I'll leave it at that. In the interest of time, we have 4 minutes left. I didn't know if anyone in the group that is online has any questions. If you do, we have a chat box, or you can raise hand, unmute, and fire away. If not, Carolyn, please unmute and fire away.
So this has been a great conversation. I've been in sales and marketing my whole career, and the role I'm in now is new in that I'm not just cultivating existing relationships, I'm trying to find new ones. And so I'm doing more of that hunting as I start to try and build relationships. I liked what you said about having a buddy at trade shows, because I actually am leaving for one tomorrow to go to the Work Truck Show. So short of asking one of you to be my buddy, I'm open. I would love to know if you have any tips for, I'm going to be approaching exhibitors who are trying to sell to their customers, and I'm going to be trying to share information about how we can help them from shelf out. Any ways to politely and quickly make that rapport without feeling like you're stepping on their toes?
Yeah, I always try to be memorable and I've walked up, example, General Motors. So what is it that you guys do? Or just, just try to crack a joke. Sometimes the worst part is following someone in your same industry, and then you're like, oh my God, I cannot sound like that guy, So you want to just be relevant to them. How I got in the GM was at the end of the event, I handed the manager, they were passing around wine. I handed her a glass of wine and a chair. And we sat down and we had a conversation. It's just, once again, walk in their shoes. They're going to see hundreds of people selling to them. Imagine how exhausting that is. So just try to find a way to just be different.
All right. So box of cannolis it is.
There you go.
There you go.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We have
I'll definitely work as a buddy. Anytime I can help you out, we should coordinate schedules for sure.
All right. You're hired.
You're stuck with me.
We got a chat box question from Emily over at Heritage. I think this one's right up Camilo's alley. Is it rare to find someone who is well developed in both the sales personas, farmer and hunter? Is it rare? Is it pretty common?
I don't think it's common. I don't think it's two different. One is more is independent, asks for forgiveness and then for permission. It's just like going out there, where the farmer is different, is thinking, more process, more strategic, different type of personalities that they will have both of the skill set. That's fine. But then again, as an owner of a business, you need to understand what is it that you want that person to do. You know your business, then you try to hire the individual that have the best skill set for that.
Great.
Yeah, I
point.
agree. You got to play to your strengths. We're fortunate enough. We've got some great sales staff. You know, many of our team members, and they're very versatile. But yeah, we definitely have some that are better at getting in there and knocking the doors down for that new target account. And then there's others that are just great at managing those relationships. I mean, we've had, I started in 2002. We have clients today that we've had since then. And so those are definitely a long-term farming type of situation.
Very nice, gentlemen. Dean, I don't know if this cuts off at 1, but we've had some great conversations, some great insights, some great questions and answers. Is there anything you'd like to do in closing, wrap up?
Yes, I would just like to invite everyone that is here this time to our next session. We will be posting all of the information up on our website and all of our social media. So kind of like what Chad said, keep us, I guess, just stay updated, check out our social media. And our next small business series session will be on marketing strategies and campaigns. So we would love to have everyone who's here today come out to that one as well. It will be on the 21st. So.
And then when's the next third Thursday event? Have you figured that out, Tessa Huevez? That's a great one. It's usually around a happy hour if you like cold beverages and people.
Yeah,
Those
so
are
our
awesome.
next one will be in April. It'll be the third Thursday of the month because this month we have our economic forum on the 24th. So it is our economic forum breakfast. It will be held at the DAC. And we have a fantastic speaker coming in, Pedro David Espinoza. He's coming in from Silicon Valley. He's an angel investor, the head of a nonprofit organization, and he works with a lot of ERGs as well as economic development. So if you have any questions about that, please feel free to contact me, or again, you can also take a look at our website to get a little bit more information. But we are here, so anything that you all need, if there's any topics that you would like us to cover, please don't hesitate to kind of send them over my way.
And Dina, will you do me a favor, since you've got the list of all the registrants and all their emails, I'm sure, can you send out my contact information to everyone?
I will,
if anybody needs
absolutely.
With me,
anything.
please.
Yep.
Oh,
most
do you guys
definitely.
mind if I make one comment? I invited my clients to this event, Julie and Alberto Piccone, and I hope that they end up, I'm trying to get them to meet Chad and some of the others here. so
Oh, I
they
know
can
Alberto.
join.
Yeah,
What's that?
I know Alberto. Is he here?
He is, well, say hi, because he should be watching the recording. He told me
Okay.
he signed up
Hello, Alberto.
just in
Yeah.
case he could make it, but he wasn't sure. But he and Julie, I work with them to buy a franchise. They own Floor Covering International. So anyway, I know he had talked about getting involved. He and Julie had talked about getting involved with the chamber. And so when I followed Chad, and he's sort of my sales hero.
The other Chad, not me, that guy, that Chad Starnes, right?
And so I saw the event and I thought I need to try to get them there. So they're probably will be listening to the recording. So, but
Absolutely.
Camelia, yeah, I would reach out to him. If you
Congratulations,
need
Alberto.
contact
Yeah.
information, I can give it to you. Yeah. Okay.
Awesome.
well, thank
Well,
you
good
so
luck,
much.
Carolyn. Well, you gotta let us know how your trade show goes. I'm sure you're gonna kill it.
All right, well, thank you. I appreciate the vote of confidence. Great conversation today. Thank you.
Thank
That was
you.
fun. Thanks, Tina, for the opportunity.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
anytime.
Thank you, Chad. And Chad. It's nice.
Thank
Nice
you,
to meet you
everyone.
all.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.